Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Welcome to another Daily Choices episode. I know it's a little bit flipped this episode, so I hope it's not too trippy. I'm in the passenger seat letting my boyfriend drive today, and he's out and about doing some things, so just popping in quickly to say hi and do a quick video. I'm curious what sort of choices, decisions, situations you've been dealing with lately, so let me know in the comments straight away and can open a little conversation about it. I hope you've had a good week as well. I hope it was slightly better than mine. I had a lot of things going on this week. I got quite ill as well, so that, you know, when just a week feels quite chaotic and things just keep piling on top of it. That was one of those, but it's not the end of the world. Move on and on to the next week. So today we're going to go through some daily choices as usual. I'll go through some questions and some preferred ways I choose to deal with those at the moment. So I hope you enjoy and let's get straight into it. Starting with when to say more in a conversation. I think this is such a good one and it can apply to literally every day. Every day we conversate. It's so good to experiment with that in terms of seeing when it's actually necessary to say something. In some conversations, maybe we can save our energy more than others, and even the timing of speaking and how it can impact the flow of a conversation. I think something that's helped me to differentiate when to say more in a conversation is to try and notice why I want to say certain things. Sometimes I might want to say something just because I want to be heard or appreciated, which is fine. Other times it might be more tied to what the other person is saying. But I find sometimes when it is more of a thought pattern that's me wanting to be heard, might not be as relevant to the conversation and it might change the whole flow of the conversation. So let's say you're talking about something to someone and you have like 3 other ideas of what you want to talk about to them. Sometimes it's good to experiment with, or what if I don't say this now? Or maybe it's not as important for me to talk about this right now. And a good way to notice when to say more in a conversation is when you feel that it actually brings value. So when it's needed to say and it's not more what you want to say just to be heard. It's such a good one to experiment with, maybe to see how it affects the quality of the conversation, or to see if in some conversation you can save more energy as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just to try and differentiate those things, notice them and try them out and see how it affects your conversations. The next one is ways to find a partner in modern day dating. I think the cliche of focusing on yourself in the first place will attract the right kind of people towards you is so beneficial. But at the same time, if you are seeking a romantic relationship, it is something you need to put bits of energy into as well. And it takes certain steps and time to invest into finding a partner. The most obvious way is dating apps. When I was dating, for me, Hinge and Bumble were up there. Rather than just saying dating apps, I wanted to put more emphasis on how to do that, as well as focusing on yourself, as in just adding it occasionally into your routine. So maybe once a week you kind of check the app, go through some matches, do some new people, and that way you're not feeling too desperate with it and not too gutted when like things don't work out. It's just more of like another thing going on in your life in the background, and it's definitely something that can take months or even years, and that's fine as long as you're focusing on yourself. That's normal with many other things. I definitely found myself when I was dating, I was probably dating for about a year to be in the relationship that I am now. So I think a lot of people, when they try dating apps and it doesn't work for a week, they're like, oh, that's not the way for me. And another point along the lines of still focusing on yourself, if you're still doing the activities that you love, that's another way to meet people, to maybe join different events or group activities. That way you're obviously going to meet people with similar interests, so it doesn't feel like you're doing it just for that, because you're doing the things that you enjoy as well. The next one is how to find more happiness in simple days. I think this one is so important, and I think it is spoken about a lot in a way, but I wanted to try and implement little examples that are a little bit more practical, and I think is one of those things that is easier said than done. Rethinking priorities and perspective can be so helpful, and finding those things that can make us happy in those everyday simple days that we usually have when we're going to work, when we have our standard weekends, because they happen 95% more than the other more extreme events. I mean, depending on how rich you are, your or maybe going on holiday once or twice a year. So if that's the only time that someone is happy, that is not a huge amount of time of the year. So that's when the days that happen more often, noticing what can bring you happiness. When we go to parties, having a drink there is more exciting because of our perspective. But we have a drink every day. We have a coffee, a cup of tea, and we don't see that most of the time. We don't appreciate those as easily. Or for example, when you're taking a walk throughout the week, going to work, coming back from work, you're paying attention to the nature around you, the sky. Maybe those are the sort of things you would notice on a holiday, but because of the perspective of being so used to having those little things, it's good to kind of reshape our priorities. Give yourself a challenge to see what makes you happy on a simple, almost boring day. Like at the end of it, what made you happy? That didn't come with like fireworks and so many emotions, but they were more simple. And yeah, even let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested to hear what sort of simple moments make you happy in the everyday. For example, with myself, on a more simple day when I'm working or I've got uni, for me it is moments like waking up in the morning, maybe I'm able to take it a little bit slower, have a little stretch, then like I said, a cup of tea, or I love a matcha latte, having one of those. That's pretty simple and gives me a lot of happiness. And then for instance, when I'm driving to uni, I love the scenery, so noticing that and slowing down can make a big difference in my day. And then maybe if I was working and I noticed the effort I was able to put in that day, or the way that I affected some of the students, interact with them and help them with something. Those are such little things that when you notice a few of them throughout the day, you can just be more happy. Sorry guys about the lighting change. I didn't realize the sun came out and was like making all sorts of light over here, so sorry about that. And let's move on to our next question, which is ways to improve confidence on a daily basis. I don't think confidence is something that can be built overnight, and it's little droplets that are needed daily to build the foundations of it. I think something that really helps on the daily is noticing self-talk, so how you talk to yourself throughout the day. Kind of the difference between saying something like, oh, like I was so stupid for doing that, and not doing that, or saying it in a more constructive way. Because as a cliche, they do say that we are our own best friends as well. So the kind of outlook and attitude we have towards ourselves is definitely going to be a part of shaping our confidence. I definitely don't think these are easy to notice. They might be so natural for us to just have an automatic reaction and be negative towards ourselves. Like I definitely notice when I have some phases of not being as confident, that kind of negative self-talk is definitely more frequent than when it's not the case. And another great way to build confidence in those little droplets is simply challenging ourselves to do things we're not so great at or we're out of practice from. And whatever it is, by starting small and getting better and better at it, you're improving yourself in a way or a skill that's definitely going to give you some confidence without even realizing. Maybe it's something you're really passionate about and you haven't been courageous enough yet to try it. I'm trying to think of a similar challenge that I would want to give myself to do something that I'm maybe not so good at. The first thing that comes to mind is biking, because I just don't really feel safe on the London chaotic roads when I bike. But I am actually probably going today, so that's already starting that little challenge. Something that's maybe even more out of reach would be cooking. Definitely cooking. Maybe it's because it's not something that I'm particularly passionate about. I do think I'm still quite good at it, but I have to challenge myself to build more and more confidence in that. So I shall try that for myself and see how it helps. Again, feel free to let me know if you've got any challenges in mind that could help you with boosting your confidence. And let's move on to the last and final question, which is ways to handle emotions that drag throughout the day. Whether they are positive or negative emotions, it's good to try and have a handle on how much they affect us and finding ways to create space from them when needed. As simple as it sounds, the main and most useful way to me is to sit and face the emotion. I know it sounds so simple, but so often, for me at least, when I'm stuck in an emotion of anxiety or whatever it is, I will be in that emotion and do anything apart from actually facing it. So to actually catch yourself and be able to do that can be so useful. And yeah, we spend so much time running away from it, not wanting to feel it. But if we just take a second to acknowledge it and just see it, it can slightly loosen the grip it has over us. And the way I see it is that when these emotions and reactions have more of a grip over us, it might be a sign or urging us that there is a lack of being present, and that it just might be helpful to have general check-ins more often. You know, because if you're more present, you're less likely to be bit more stuck in your own head and in a specific emotion, then when you see things a little bit more fully and like sort of in a bigger picture. So yeah, let's finish it there. I hope you enjoyed. I had loads of fun doing this video. I think it's also a challenge for me to talk to the camera a little bit more and try and express these ideas. So let me know what you guys think, if you have any feedback, or if it made you think of anything specific. And hope you have a great week ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.